didn't just come to be, you were planted. You bury the dead to get rid of the body, but you plant a seed so that it can go through a transformation of coming back up greater than it was when it went down.
Yaumataki, to the Oromoo people, to the young men and women of our nation. First and foremost, I'd like to extend my deepest condolences to every one of you who's devastated as I am by the assassination of our beloved Hachalu Hundessa, a man who has unquestionably touched the hearts and souls of the millions with his profound lyrical ability. For us, Hachalu wasn't just a musician. He was a musical revolutionist who embodied our hopes, our dreams, and most of all, our voices. As if the cold-blooded murder of our icon wasn't enough, the regime also had the audacity to imprison our leaders, including Jawar, a man who has ignited the everlasting movement among the young generation, a man who has spent all his life fighting for the causes of the oppressed. For generations, they have been dimming every light that has ever brightened amongst us, and so they dimmed a light that they couldn't handle its potential and power. But what they failed to realize is that our roots are too deep to be infected, our spirit too firm to be shaken, and our heart too strong to be broken. Never forget that. We, the Oromoo nation, over 50 million of us, are one of the most oppressed groups in the world. We have been socially and economically marginalized and politically suppressed for over 150 years. Our parents and grandparents have been dehumanized. Their language and culture has been ridiculed. When they spoke against the injustices, they were imprisoned, tortured, and murdered, not just by the current regime, but by the one before that, and before that, and before that. But despite all the miseries we've endured as people, we have also been one of the most resilient groups in the world, who's never been deterred from pursuing equality and justice for all. Our parents fought on one side while raising their kids on the other, with the hope and prayer that maybe, just maybe, their children will one day be lucky enough to enjoy the freedom that they so desire but were never granted. Never forget that you are that child. You are the sole product of the prayers and hopes of your parents, grandparents, and your ancestors. It was Wako Gutu, one of the most respected Oromo heroes, who once said, "Gabrumma hiddam buqifna, dadhabnu ilman itti guddifanna." You are that ilman he's speaking of. The Qeerroos and the Qarrees, the Qubee generation, the most powerful, most educated, and most sophisticated generation of all time. A generation that has been raised in a keen politically and a socially aware atmosphere. A generation that is fearless, willing to sacrifice anything and everything to be free. A generation that is without a doubt most feared by the oppressive regime. So, none of us will rest until all our brothers and sisters are released from the prison. We will not rest until we eradicate anything and everything that embodies the outdated and barbaric mentality that has crippled that country for so long. The young generation will not rest until what Hachalu was assassinated for is fulfilled. All the statues of the past dictators and oppressors are removed from the public spaces, particularly the embarrassing and demeaning Menelik statue that towers over the capital. We will not rest until every soul in that country is free. Because remember, we're not just fighting for the Oromos. We're fighting for the millions of other marginalized groups, the likes of the Sidamas and the Walaitas and the Siltes. We're fighting for the justice for humanity. We're fighting for every oppressed soul that lives on that soil. So, my people, be sad but never be broken. Cry but never let your tears be seen by your oppressors. Let us continue to mobilize, organize like never before. Roll up your sleeves and get to work. Remind the regime that this is not the era for dictators to rule. And remember, this is not like any of our past movements. This is our last straw. Oromo, this is it. Our last chance to be free.
Amma duguuf yaa'u cabsa haa cabu.